Here is your June 16th, 2026 Greeley City Council meeting recap. Probably the most noteworthy was a statement read by Mayor Pro Tem McDonald in which she addressed the poor communication around Catalayst and Cascadia and pointed the finger in a new direction.
I wanted to acknowledge that myself and Councilmember Olson have been very vocal about the lack of communication that was provided during the Cascadia and Catalayst project. And I think our C&E team has taken a lot of heat throughout that process. And I don't think that's fair because we had hired a consultant, and I will just speak to my experience with them that they had told me we were going to have media interviews, radio interviews, podcasting. None of that happened. So I was really upset with the lack of communication when it came to West Greeley and the Catalayst project. And by the direction of leadership, past leadership, our communication department was directed not to get involved.
So beyond that statement, the other big things to note, everything on the consent agenda passed as written with the exception of the May 19th meeting minutes. After I spoke during citizen input to point out that in those meeting minutes, they stated only that I and the person after me spoke, and that I was reminded by Mayor Hall to stay on topic, and there was nothing about the content of what I had said. If you recall, on May 19th, I spoke during the public hearing for the city manager's compensation to discuss the importance of oversight, having seen what the former city manager got away with, which to me does feel relevant as we're discussing that compensation package. So I called on them to please edit those notes, as it is not the city's job to editorialize and decide what information we as residents in public record get or don't get, and instead that it should have the content of what I and the community member after me had said, regardless of whether or not they deemed it to be relevant. In addition to that, something fun upcoming is a representative from the police department and from the fire department unions came up to share that they will be doing a 3 versus 3 demolition derby event at the demolition derby during the Greeley Stampede on July 5th. This will be an opportunity to fundraise for both of those unions. And the union rep for the fire department, different representative, spoke during citizen input to discuss the collective bargaining agreement with the Firefighters Union 888, sharing us a little background around the process, as well as calling out the former city manager who apparently intentionally lowered the pay scale of the Batallion Chiefs in order to remove them from their unit and from being able to be a part of the collective bargaining. That has apparently been fixed this year, and so he shared appreciation around that. The city attorney did discuss budget cuts that will be upcoming, and her proposal for that, it looks like cutting a couple positions, and she expressed concern about losing the AI legal research system that they've had for the last year. Councilmember DeButy also checked in to see when the last time was that the city attorney's office was fully staffed, and Stacey Azurda said that it has not been fully staffed for the better part of at least 10 years, and that this is the closest it had been prior to these cuts. The one other thing to note is that Mayor Hall called for an initiative in order to formally approve the financing of Civic Center campus in a pre-development services agreement with Richmark. So as always, the full breakdown is on the post, and if you have any questions, let me know. Hope everyone has a great day and look forward to continuing the conversation.